What I'd like to do without further ado is there's some changes for emergency services purposes that are being instituted throughout Waller County, and we're blessed to have the coordinator for that program here with us today, and that is Miss Bandy Frobel. So she's going to go through this and then answer it, briefly and point out some things to us, and then answer any questions regarding the requirements for the emergency services that has now been initiated throughout Waller County. Brandy?
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'll stay right here. I don't want to be in the light.
Okay.
I've given you all of my contact information on the very front page, email, phone number, address. I'm over in the Road and Bridge building across from Dioreo's in Hempstead. Easy to find. The girls up front are very nice and able to help you find me. I'm kind of stuck in the back office, but it's all good. I like it back there. If you ever have any questions, please feel free to call me or email me. I will, if I don't answer you right then and there, it's probably because I'm out roaming around doing this or checking an address in the field, but I will get back to you. I've given you pretty much point blank just the simple info you need to know. I've given you pieces of the resolution, first few pages. It was adopted in April of '97, so it's nothing new. It just hasn't been pushed out to you. So I'm trying to push it out to you to keep everyone safe. It's basically mainly for emergency services. If you need EMS, if you need the sheriff's department, if you need the fire department, I want them to find you like that. Not take 20, 30 minutes to get to you when they can't find you. Key points, I'm on the second page. I know I'm going quick. Posting of your number signs. This resolution states your address number has to be posted. Meaning, you can post your own numbers, or the county has passed a deal. I am making these numbers for $10 a piece. They are reflective. All emergency services can see them better at night. The option is yours, but you must post them. That's not an option. They have to be posted, okay? Whichever way you do it is your choice. There's two types of numbers, which is pretty much what I just went over. If you decide to put it on your mailbox has to be on the same side of your street as your house, and you have to post it on both sides. Why? If EMS is coming from this direction, they need to see it on this side. If they're coming from the other direction, they need to see it on this side. So make sure it's on both sides if you choose your mailbox. Okay? Understanding your address in Prairie View, let's back up. There is penalties. It's in the resolution. I'm on page 3 or 4. There's a $500 penalty or 60 days in jail, either or, in the discretion of the court. Or both. Correct. Bottom of page 5 says penalties. I drew an arrow to it. So just make it easy on yourself and post your numbers. It's all for emergency purposes. It's not for the county or me to be mean and strict and you gotta post your numbers. No, it's for them to find you quickly in a very timely manner. The other day EMS did get called out. I don't know where it was to. It took them 20 extra minutes to get to location because they couldn't find the numbers that were posted or that weren't posted. Okay? Prairie View is a little different. I'm on the next page, understanding your address in Prairie View. Pretty much everyone knows they do not have postal delivery here. Most people in Prairie View get their mail at a P.O. box. If you choose to use your address as your mailing address instead of the P.O. box, you have to use Hempstead or Waller. I'm pretty sure University is the dividing line. If you live on this side, you're Hempstead. If you live on that side, you're Waller. If you don't know, call me. I can tell you which way you are. I have post office schemes, meaning they tell me, okay, Main Street, Hempstead delivers from 1 to 10. Waller delivers from 11 to 20, whatever the numbers are. So I have their scheme, so I know exactly which mail direction goes where. If you, when you call 911, 911 does not go by your postal code at all. So by me putting in your postal code as Hempstead or Waller, it's not the way it picks you up. It picks you up by city and MSAG. MSAG is a master street addressing guide. That's what I use between me and HGAC, which is Houston Galveston Area Council. Everything that I put in, they run it through a 20-point check system on one address to make sure evens are on the one side of the road, odds are on the other, everything is in line, we're good to go. So they send me back errors. So we're constantly checking back and forth to make sure everyone's where they're supposed to be. When you call them, like I said, they pull up by a city code. So once you call them and say, hey, I'm at 123 Main Street, that's all you have to give them. They already know you're in Prairie View. And I tested it. It works. I picked a random address in Prairie View. I called over to the Sheriff's Department, which is our dispatch, said, hey, run this address and tell me where you are in Prairie View. So it works. I tested it. GPS has been a huge issue with Prairie View. GPS, Google, Yahoo, any kind of mapping search engines do not get their information from me nor HGAC. I have been told that they get them from outside vendors. So that's where the big confusion is with everybody saying, if I put in my address in Prairie View, it pulls me up in Hempstead. It's not me doing it to you. It's those outside vendors wherever they get their information, and I'm still to this day trying to find out where they get them. I don't know. I can't get anyone to tell me. I did give you a link at the bottom down here. That's to GPS. You can go on there and report that your address is in the wrong location, Hempstead, Waller, you're really supposed to be in Prairie View. From what I understand, they will fix it and update all the mapping systems. Okay? The next page is, I just threw it in there just for info. Exactly what I see is what dispatch sees. I took off the streets on here so no one knew where I was. It's just numbers out there so nobody can get offended that I use their address. All I have on my computer screen is little yellow dots. I can pull up an aerial. I can see your house. I can see everything. I put the dot on your house. When you call into dispatch, it automatically goes to that dot and they can see all your information. So if you have a gate code or if you have a key code or any kind of information you would like me to get to dispatch in case they need to get into you when that emergency happens, which I hope it never does, I can put that information on there for dispatch to see. That information goes nowhere between me and dispatch. That's it. So if you do have anything like that that you would like me to have, call me, email me. I'd rather you call me so there's nothing on paper, nothing through lines, just verbal. Or you can stop by the office and tell me, hey, my gate code's 123, and I can put it on there for you. Okay? Next page is kind of posting, which we kind of went over. The resolution is there. There's a $10 fee for the signs, which covers the cost of my material. I shopped and shopped and shopped till I could find the cheapest I could get so that I could keep the fee down. If your house is visible from the roadway, you can post your number on your house. If you have a long driveway, you need to post it at the road. Because if you're posting on your house, way back there, EMS, I'm just going to use, can't see your number back here when you're 3 miles off the road. If you live down a long driveway and you have more than one house back there in your little piece of property, make sure you number each house so that once EMS gets there, they know, okay, I need to be at this house and not this house. I've had an instance where EMS unloaded at house A and they were really needed at house B. Those 2-3 seconds it took them to unload at A, they should have been at B and back out. So make sure you number your houses if there's more than one on your property. And again, there's a sample picture of the sign. And then I attached the address number sign order form to the very back so you can rip it off. If you choose to order a sign from us, there, like I said, the $10 fee. Fill this out. If you don't know your property ID number, not a big deal. I can find it with your address. You can either mail it in or you can bring it by the office. I I make signs on Fridays, so your sign will either be ready Friday afternoon or first thing Monday morning. Anybody have any questions?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
A question with reference to numbers affixed on the houses. Okay, if a number is affixed on the top corner of the house and also on the curb in front of the house, is that acceptable?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
I thank you for being here, Ms. Frabel.
Sure.
Okay. My question has to do with the integrity of the city of Prairie View in regard to the zip code assignments and that kind of thing. Why isn't the zip code 77446 recognized by Waller County?
It is, but it isn't. I have to put in, it doesn't really make sense, I know. I have to put in on my end what the postal code would be, which means Hempstead or Waller. Like I said, dispatch does not pull from a postal code. So it pretty much just wipes it out. Between postal and zip code. We pull from city and MSAT.
I understand the practice, but the city of Prairie View is an incorporated city, the same as Hempstead and Waller. I received your correspondence for my residence. I have a neighbor who lives in the same neighborhood. My residence, you gave the name Waller, Texas, 77484. A neighbor received the same information, and his residence is located in Hempstead. Why is that?
It all depends on that post office scheme. Depends on the post office scheme.
My neighbor uses the same post office I use.
Up here at Prairie View?
Yes.
I understand that. But if he were not to get his mail at the post office, if he only used his physical address, then I have to go by whatever post office would deliver to his house.
I see that as a flaw, Ms. Frabel, and I'm respectful in your presentation, but I see that as a flaw. The other thing is that the new assignment you gave to my residence, instead of 202 Smith Street, which was authorized by your predecessor, Johnny Boyd, who has passed away, I went to him straight to his office, and he said, that is the correct address. Your new address for my residence is 313 East Smith Street, Waller, Texas. And my question would be, Ms. Frabel, how would you confuse Smith Street in Prairie View with Smith Street in Waller when I have a Waller zip code? Doesn't make sense.
I went by the list of street names that the sheriff's department gave me.
But I'm saying you reassigned me to Waller 77484, Smith Street in Prairie View, and there's a Smith Street in Waller. And if we sent an emergency vehicle out, how would they know which Smith Street they're talking about?
They'll know by your phone call how you call in.
Phone number?
Your phone number's attached to it.
Yeah.
I see. That still doesn't make sense to me.
I know, it's crazy how it works.
That's what
It's
it
very
is to
crazy
sell.
how it works. But it works. And if you want to test it, you can call the sheriff's department and just give them your address and tell them, hey, where am I? Tell me where I am. Yes, sir.
I'm back on the integrity for the city of Prairie View as far as identity. And I understand it's 77446 for loans to the university. How complicated, how difficult, how much time would it take if we reapply for an entire new zip code where we can have Prairie View, the city, right now? Because personally, as a resident, I feel like this is the beginning of a hostile takeover.
Right. I can't answer that. You'd have to go to the postal service.
Okay.
There was something under, the mayor said what it was, but I don't recall what he said as to why they don't have postal delivery here. I don't know. He checked into that end of it. I didn't.
One final question, Ms. Frabel. In my neighborhood, Concord Village, there are 11 residences, 11 different street numbers. Why did only 2 of us out of the 11 receive correspondence from you?
If yours went from an even number to an odd number, is that what happened? Didn't you say you were 202 and you're ending
It
in
went
3
from
now?
an even number to an odd number.
You were assigned an even number on the odd side of the road, so I had to fix you to where you were on the odd side of the road.
Well, I thought that your method of accomplishing this would be to send a notice to everyone in Prairie View with a correct GPS address. Why wasn't that done?
I don't have to send letters for a correct GPS. I don't do anything with GPS. I don't connect to GPS at all. I connect to dispatch and that's it.
That's it.
Yes, ma'am.
Am I to understand that everyone was supposed to get something from you as to where you live according to what you're sending out? Because I live in Alta Vista. How many of you have received? I didn't receive anything.
If I changed your address for some reason,
Okay.
example, even on the odd or
You
odd
change your
vice
address?
versa, then you would have gotten something.
No.
If you're not sure, call me or email me and let me check it to make sure you're on the system.
Okay, are you?
That was my problem in Prairie View, Hempstead, and Waller. There's a lot of addresses that are not on my map, period. So I've been trying to work street by street. If I see a house, I cross-reference with the appraisal district to see if there's an address there so I can plug it in.
Okay, are you saying that those of us who did not receive anything from you, you don't have anything for us?
Your address is probably correct.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, I just wanted to get that straight.
yeah.
Okay.
The only way I would have changed it, there was one, I don't even know which street it was on. The address they were using was 10. 10 was the block number. The range on the street was 100 to 200. 10 doesn't even fit in that range. It's been messed up from day one. Yes, ma'am.
You probably remember when you made me 5 of those signs. I have some rental property that goes down, not on the street. The only question I have about posting the signs that we're working with, I was getting ready to post them facing the street. Is that gonna be okay if it's not on both sides, but it is facing the
Yes.
street?
Yes, because they can see it from both ways. Any other questions?
Where do you get your property ID number?
Appraisal district. And I mean, if you don't have it, that's fine. I can find it by your address.
So just, you know, take this.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. And I encourage every one of you to call my office, come by my office, email me, whichever way you want to get in contact with me to make sure that your address is on the map. That's how you're going to be found.
Sure.
Yes, ma'am.
I'll
If
check
we
my
want to contest
I'll go by
this,
the office and check
who
my
will be contacted? You mentioned that the postal, you are not responsible for the GPS, you're responsible for the what, the postal?
No, I don't have anything to do with postal.
Okay,
The only
well,
thing
you-
I do with postal is make sure that those street addresses are in their postal scheme, in their range of numbers.
Okay, to whom should we address our concerns to? That's what I'm saying, since you don't seem to have
About the post office?
about the whole thing, about us, the purview not being recognized in the addressing.
Help.
Let me help you out on that, Randy. Sister White, you can, because we have, myself and Mayor Jackson, we have sat down with 911 and the county engineer. But what has happened, it has been, it isn't us, it's the U.S. Postal Service that has gotten us into this predicament. Basically, Brandy, all she does, she assigns it to the information that she gets through HGAC, and she put that information into a computer system. But as far as our zip coding specifically is U.S. Postal Service. And the mayor and several other individuals have sat down with our congressman, Mike McCall, and Congressman McCall has been in the room with the Postal Service. And the Postal Service basically in a nutshell, saying, well, there's nothing that they can do about it. But I have spoken with other individuals like the Woodlands. The Woodlands used to have this predicament years ago. And they said one thing that they did is that they began to put the Woodlands on their addressing instead of, because that part of it was somewhere in Montgomery County, the closest city to them in Montgomery County. They were harboring that zip code also. And they began to put it on their Woodlands, Texas, and just like we have prairie-view 77446, it's radical, but I think if we start taking some of these things into our hands, now it may cause us some inconvenience in the beginning, but I think it's going to cause the U.S. Postal Service more inconvenience overall. Because if we start addressing our materials, and which I address, even some of my bills, I address 77446, prairie-view-texas, and it comes to my house. It comes to my house. So what we have to do, we have to begin to change our billing and our acceptance on our credit cards and things of that nature. Instead of putting 77445 and allowing them to identify us as Hempstead, we have to make them identify us as Prairie View.
I never use 77445.
Yes, ma'am. And I think collectively, if we all begin to do that, then it's going to automatically revert to where we will have a 7, because we have a post office here. It's just a matter of manning that post office and them assigning us spots where we individually live, rather than everybody having to use a post office box. Because we remember back when we had the rural routes and all that. But if we begin to use the address that we have on our residences, if we begin to use that address, it will eventually work to our benefit. It would be a fight, but it's a win fight.
Can I take it back on point something? Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. During the time I was on city council, it was myself and Councilwoman Marie Herndon. We did a petition, and some of you all signed the petitions. This was back in 2000. We challenged Johnny Boyd to redo that zip code, because that 911 messed us up. And so he said, if we did a petition, we did that petition, a lot of you guys signed it. We had over about 300 and something signatures. That went to the city. From the city, that went to Johnny Boyd. From Johnny Boyd, that went to Austin. Then the ball dropped, came back, said that we didn't want to do anything about it. I said all that to say that, and I'm willing to fight again for you guys and for us to re-up that petition again and hold the mayor, who's ever going to be the mayor in May, and hold him accountable to get us where we need to be to have that 77446. Because they don't want us with that zip code, because that zip code is the biggest zip code in a town of Waller. And that's why when you were talking earlier, I was living one place and another. They gerrymandered us for me to vote over here, for me to vote over there, and they messed us up. And when you look up in the GPS system, it looked like Prairie View don't exist as a city. Guys, they don't want us to exist as a city. So we have to fight that battle and hold whoever's going to be that mayor accountable to get us where we need to be at 77446 and put that petition back out. And that's what I said. Thank you.
Ms. Wyatt, I've spoken to the postmaster. It's over her head. I had a conversation with Representative Cecil Bell, and he essentially said the same thing that the commissioner mentioned. And I shared with him, I said, well, you're forcing us to pay for government property for a post office in order to get our mail, unless we say we live somewhere other than where we live in an incorporated city, and now we're home rule since last May. So when you look at the financial component, it's called economic racism. They're forcing us to pay for a post office unless we say Waller or Hempstead, which we shouldn't have to do. We have more people than Waller does. They can't become home rule because they only have about 2,800. But this, because the postal is federal, is probably going to take federal court action, and that's why I had those conversations, because that's something I'm familiar with. We went through it in Los Angeles, and that's sometimes what it takes to straighten it out. because the people you're talking to can't make a decision, but federal court makes decisions all day, every day. But thank you, Randy. We appreciate you coming. We know this is over your head too, but we'll handle it.
If you get it done, let me know so I can change it all.
It's maybe a very interesting point, and I think it's something that we need to address with the next city officials that are elected and maybe we need to get something done. We will now have our legislative committee, legal candidate, Halcyon. Rudy, you're going to take care of it. Ms. Herndon.
Good afternoon. Many of us as voters come out in numbers for the presidential election, governor's election, but the most important election to us are the local elections. You've got to come out and vote in these local elections for the county and the mayor. Now, they affect us directly. We are affected by the national elections, and we come out in droves for that. But please, bring your neighbors, come out, you come out. Don't wait until election day. Early voting is April 24th for the mayoral election.
April 15th.
April
15th.
It changes to 15th?
April 15th, and it ends April 25th.
Okay, what about the runoff?
The runoff is
For the
on
county.
May 16th.
So those dates are May 16th and April.
April 15th starts early voting.
I'll have to check on that date. That's not the information I have.
April 15th through the 25th.
Miss.
They haven't given us that information.
Okay, well, the information I have is April 24th. So we'll get that straight. But nonetheless, please come out and vote in the local elections. Now, we do have some candidates with us today. I would like to bring forth those candidates to introduce themselves and tell you a little about their platform. I think we have 3 minutes each. We'll start with the commissioners. With us today, the incumbent, Commissioner Jeron Barnett.
Thank you, Ms. Herndon. Thank you all for the opportunity to be here today. I'm running again for county commissioner. And you all know me, Jeron Barnett. I've been here for the past 27 years. Got here through marriage, marrying my dear sweet wife, all that. Her mother is Maxine Matthews, in which many of you, if not all of you, know. I have had the wonderful opportunity of serving you for the past 39 months, and we've gotten a lot of things done. We've gotten a lot of things done as far as our roads being improved, rebuilding of a community center, health clinic, and also, if you all look at the paper last week, you see that we will retain H.T. Jones Elementary within our, I'm going to stand over here because I don't know my back to you all. H.T. Jones Elementary here in the city of Prairie-View. Now, I do know that myself and one other individual in here, they can speak for themselves on that, had the opportunity of working with the school district and helping to ensure, I say helping to ensure, that we keep Jones Elementary here in the city of Prairie-View. Because you know, when it comes to economic development, education is paramount. It's very, you being educators, you know this. I'm asking you for another opportunity to finish what I've started. Presently, I'm working on trying to get our transportation venue back in our county as far as our bus services. I'm also working on the establishment of a public defender's office for those who are not able and economically not able to have the proper representation once they be in charge with an offense or a crime, that they get that proper representation through our courts. You've allowed me to serve you as your police chief, and I am still the same Jeron. I will still do each and everything that I can to serve you. I love Waller County. I love Prairie View. I love you, and I'm asking for your vote once again to be your county commissioner, precinct 3. Thank you.
Thank you. The next candidate for commissioner with us today is Mr. Daryl Johnson.
Do you all mind if I stand right here? Oh, you want me to front where you can see? I take orders well. And my name is Daryl Johnson. I am a semi-retired lobbyist, meaning that I work in Washington and I work in Austin. What I want to do is I want to bring senior programs
to not to Waller County, but first to Prairie View, and then branch from Prairie View onto the rest of the county. We have the brightest and the most brilliant minds in the county right where we are. But the county's not utilizing our talents. We have seniors that have paid their dues, that deserve to have senior centers, senior centers, I have a brain senior centers, as well as to have monthly meetings so that we know what seniors want. I have gray hair, but I shouldn't be deciding what seniors want. I should be listening to you and doing what you say. But I should be doing that first and foremost in Precinct 3. I vow that I'll bring a business infrastructure in place, senior programs, and accountability. Waller County is the fastest growing county in this state, the 9th fastest in this country. It should be radiating from where we are. Not everything else growing towards us. It should be growing from within us. If you elect me, I'll work hard. You'll see me, not just when it's election time, you'll see me all the time. And I will represent you fairly, honestly, and openly. Thank you.
Thank you. Also on the county level is the Waller County Sheriff, our candidate, Mr. Cedric Watson.
Good afternoon, all. Cedric Watson. Yes, ma'am. My name is Cedric Watson. I came to Waller County in 2009 working in Hempstead Police Department. But originally I'm from Ohio, Northeast Corridor, a town called Warren. I moved down here in '86. Enjoyed being here, moved here because my mother was here in Houston. Enjoyed living in Houston. Got into law enforcement in '93. Got my first job with Harris County Precinct 7, A.B. Chambers. I tip my hat off to that man, Lord rest his soul, for giving me the opportunity to get into this field, which now brings me here to Waller County. I am happy to be here in Waller County. I found love within the people of Waller County, and I'm still here. I made my residence here in Waller County. I live off of Mathis Road. Many of you know the home out there on Mathis Road, the big log cabin where the guy used to live that had 3 wives. Me, I have no wife. All right. I do enjoy this county. I want to make a change in this county. I want to be your sheriff in this county. I see that there are some corrections that need to be made within the structure of the sheriff department. And one of the main corrections that will be made is to be you guys confident. You know, I'm here, my doors will be open, I will be transparent, I don't care who it is, you come talk to me, I will listen, we will make that problem turn into a corrected situation to where we all can work together. There will be no boundaries whatsoever within my department. There will be no word heard that will not be corrected. Everyone who comes to Cedric D. Watson with a problem, we will take care of it, okay? I see that here in Prairie View, in the city of Waller, I don't see no sheriff vehicles come through whatsoever. I jogged within the city of Waller, and when I'm out there, if I don't see a city of Waller police officer go through, you know, I'm kind of in awe, because police presence to me is the #1 thing for the people. I want to make sure, though we are Waller County, whether you're city of Hempstead, Brookshire, Prairie View, still a sheriff department vehicle need to roll through your neighborhood. We are the county. We will be the #1 county in the state of Texas, regardless of what Harris County got, regardless of what Austin has, regardless of what San Antonio has. All right? Cedric Dion Watson, Cedric D. Watson, for your sheriff.
Thank you. today also is my fellow council person, vying for position 5 in the city council. I'll let Barnett.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
I know some of you have been in your class at some point in time, and others through my sisters or my mom, who's Maxine Matthews. And I want to remind everyone here, as taxpayers, that we shouldn't select someone to be on our city council that's going to make decisions that are going to affect us now and in the future, and it doesn't affect them. And I've been on the city council for the past 2 years, and some of the decisions that I made, they might not be popular, and I was the only one to make them, but I didn't run for city council to be an opportunist. I ran to serve the people. So I'm asking for your vote and your support in the May election for city council position 5. Thanks.
We have 2 mayoral candidates, first being Mr. Michael Prince.
First, let me say good evening and thank you all for this opportunity. I've been serving this community that I became established with in 1988 as a student athlete from St. Louis, Missouri. Got a baseball scholarship to play for Prairie View, where I was fortunate to become a graduate of Prairie View. Not only did I graduate, but I was all academic and all SWAC, first baseman and catcher for Prairie View, and I'm very proud of that. When I first came to Prairie View, I was treating Prairie View as a prison sentence. I'm going to do my time, and I'm going home. But I met a young lady from East Texas, and everything else changed. 4 kids later, here I am, and I'm right in the heart of this city. A lot of you have asked, who is Michael Prince? And I took some time out just to share what I've done in the city of Prairie View since 1990. For the past 26 years, I've offered service to this community from one aspect of another, whether it was volunteering through athletics, coaching, ministering, and everything else. We have a feeding program which we feed the underprivileged children in this community. We've been doing that for the last 11 years. We have a backpack ministry where we provide lunches for kids to take home over the weekend. There's a number that rings out for me, 27. 27% of our children, or 27% of the people who live in the Prairie View city limits are beneath poverty. That's 1,600 people, ladies and gentlemen. That's over 400 homes. A lot of the problems that we have can be corrected with stable leadership. I provide stable leadership. I've proven that whether I was a district executive for Boy Scouts of America, whether I was administrator for Tomball Independent School District, where I was given 40 children who were economically disadvantaged. But through my leadership, those 40 kids I got, 38 of them passed, which made Tomball Independent School District a recognized school district. I did that. I've been on the school board for Waller Independent School District since 2009. And I led the charge for a $30 million school to be built in the city of Prairie View that keeps the name of Jones Elementary, which is bringing economic impact to this community. And no disrespect to any other opponents that are here, we have 4 options, but there's only one choice for the next mayor, and that's Michael W. Prince.
Thank you. All right. Also, a candidate for mayor for the city of Prairie View, Mr. David Allen.
Good afternoon. You know, I'm blessed to say that I've been coming to this particular meeting for a little over 4 years. I've been a member a little over 3. But I was coming here because of you and some of the people like Ms. Tommy Phillips, Mr. William Chapman, and others who've gone on. That's what brought me back to Prairie View. But let's go back to June of '73 when I first came here. By May, I had recruited 37 classmates because I fell in love with this place. Since then, and coming back particularly, we've got some tax issues nobody wants to talk about. We got the highest taxes in Waller County. I'm going to address that. Yes, we've got a zip code issue, and I've already been, as I said, I've had meetings with Representative Cecil Bell while he was here dealing with the high-speed rail project. If you weren't in that meeting, you have no idea what they're about to do in Waller and Waller County. And most of Harris County comes right over here in Waller. I sat as the vice chair with Dr. Marshall Brown for our home rule charter. Some of you, we had folks vote for and against it, which is their right. One of the reasons why I decided to get involved with it is I saw what happened to Hempstead. That landfill is not within their city limits, but it's within their extraterritorial jurisdiction. Once they became home rule, they were able to join the lawsuit. Well, I'll tell you what, folks, you talk about economic development. I want you to look at that stuff between us and Waller. Waller annexed about 6 weeks ago some of that development. They needed their permission because they're not home rule yet. They plan on becoming home rule as soon as that stuff is built. It's bringing anywhere from 4,000 to 6,000 jobs, depending on who you talk to. Well, you know what? As soon, if I'm blessed to be your mayor, I've already done my homework. We're going to expand east. That stuff is going to be in our tax base. We're going to take a look at adding more police officers, lowering taxes here, fixing these horrendous water sewage issues. So when folks say they've been here a long time, I want to know why I come back and all this stuff is still going on. Our crime was so bad in 5 months, we had 5 murders in off-campus in the city of Prairie View student housing. Nobody was doing anything about it, so I did. I called the first ever Waller County Law Enforcement Forum. The chief of Waller, Chief Williams, the interim chief of Waller, he was there. Along with the chief on the campus, the chief in Hempstead, the sheriff. I even had the district attorney there. And I said, we don't want a feel-good meeting. We need something done. Thank God when I met with the district attorney about 3 weeks ago, he said there's only been one since we had that forum and things are getting better. But in working with the constable, our surrounding agencies, and whoever we decide to get in there as chief, it's going to be a working chief. If you're not willing to work with all of our agencies and drive a car so our citizens can see you, we don't need you. God bless.
Thank you. Well, look, let's give all of our candidates another round. Please, again, get out and vote. Don't ever think your vote does not count. 1 year they ran a student against me. I won by 2 votes. So don't ever think your vote doesn't count. Get out, vote. Thank you so much for your attention. Oh, on that date.
The dates, I'm sorry, I kind of get things done. I called City Hall. Early voting is April 25th through May 3rd. 2 days on campus and 7 days at City Hall. April 25th through May 3rd. That was from Mr. Jones, our city secretary.
So jot that down. Don't wait until voting day. You may be sick, out of town, anything. And May 7th is graduation. You don't want to get caught up in graduation.
Yeah, and please let others know because there have been some differences in the dates, and it'll be confirmed on Monday at the monthly city council meeting because the council has to vote on it. But I told them we needed to know now to get this correct.
Again, thank you to all candidates who are here today.
Let's get all our candidates. I don't have the president's report, so we'll move right into new business, and I don't have any new business. Okay. Do you have a courtesy committee report?
I do. Thank you. The courtesy condolence committee report. Farewell cards we sent to Mrs. Minnie Cyrus and Mrs. Cleo Walker. Thinking of you cards were sent to Mrs. Margaret Johnson and Mrs. Oral Whitfield. Mrs. Whitfield is here today. We appreciate you coming back. Birthdays for the month, March 2016. We wish a happy belated birthday to Mr. Clifford Gillett, who's here today. His birthday was on March 15th. And Mr. Gillett, you will receive one of the Easter baskets, one of your choice, whatever color you like. Which one would you like? Okay, now we'll sing happy birthday to Mr. Gillett. You have your little song sheet on the table. Mrs. and Mrs. Carter. And the rest of you, please sing with us.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Glory, glory, hallelujah. We love you, we do. We love you, we do. We love you, we do. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Happy birthday.
And on the table, we have Easter baskets as our decoration, along with books, because we're supposed to have had a book report also today. So I don't want you to think these books go with Easter, they're for a purpose. Anyway, Mr. Gillett will get a basket. I need to take 3 back, but we have 6 for door prizes. So when you came in, Mr. Montgomery had you to put your name on a little yellow piece of paper for the door prize. So if your name is not on there, you know you can't win. So we'll do that just before adjournment. Is that okay? Okay.
He has draw, he has no report.
Pardon me?
What did you say you had?
Pardon me?
What did you say about the baskets?
We're going to use 6 as door prizes, so I don't have to take them all back home.
So what is the best?
You want me to do it now?
Yeah.
Okay. For those of you that